Good morning everyone, I'm Erica Jane C. Silino from BS Ed major in Mathematics. Our topic for today is all about Chapter 7, the development of visual arts in the Philippines. But before we proceed to our topic, let us identify first what is the visual art. So visual art is an element of the human experience that reflects the time within which we live and therefore the world we inhabit. So where this art help us to know our history, culture, life, and knowledge of others during some way that cannot be achieved otherwise. So now let me discuss to you first the development of painting in the Philippines. So the historical development of paintings in the Philippines may be traced into three periods. The first period is during the Spanish period. Secondly, painting during the American period. And thirdly, painting during the modern period. So, under the painting during the Spanish period, wherein in this period, the first stone churches were built in the Intramuros in the 17th century. So, painting in the churches started in the Manila area with priests as painter-decorators. So, the Augustinian fathers also offered drawing lessons to the Filipinos. The native Filipino painters had the freedom to choose colors of the figures. So, some of the painters during the Spanish period is Jose Dance, Damiano Domingo, Justiniano Asuncion, and Alfonso Ongpin. Under the Academia, a royal decree promulgated on March 13, 1846 founded the Academia de Dibujo y Pintura in the city of Manila. So Agustin says the director was lone faculty member, while Lorenzo Guerrero was a master in non-religious and creative painting. His famous painting is From the Market, a masterpiece rendered in the watercolor. Felipe Rojas was a landscape painter. His Church of Antipolo bears on the spot studio color, while Lorenzo Roca succeeded Sayce as director in 1867, while Simon Flores y de la Rosa was one of those who studied at the Academia. He painted most of his religious canvases from paints. So this is the works of Simon Flores y de la Rosa, the Saint John the Baptist, and Feeding Chickens. So under 19th century masters, Juan Luna and Felix Resurrection Hidalgo received high honors abroad from for their works. So Juan Luna studied under Sayce, Roja, and Guerrero, while Felix Resurrection Hidalgo y Padilla, he studied at the Academia under Sayce. So this is the work of Juan Luna, the Spolarium, and La Muerte de Cleopatra. So his Spolarium won him a gold medal in the Exposition Nacional de Bellas Artes. Prior to Spolarium, he painted La Muerte de Cleopatra in 1881 in Rome. This is the work of Felix Resurrection Hidalgo, the Las Virgins Christians. And now let's proceed to painting during the American period. So painting has, during this period, painting has a lesser direct utility value unlike architecture. There were few painters, but they painted simply for the love of art. Painting was a standstill because commerce was generally restricted during the period between the Spanish and the assumption of the American government that naturally disabled the artist financially. So, during that period, some of the famous painters at this time were Fabian de la Rosa, George Pineda, Teodoro Benaventura, and Miguel Zaragoza. So, during American period, in 1903, the Manila art world began with the assistance of other painters. So, Rafael Enriquez organized the Association Internacional de Artistas, while Fabian de la Rosa, a realist in the true sense of the word, was the most prolific painter of this period. George Pineda was an acclaimed landscape artist of the American period, while Isidro Ancheta became a figure painter. His stint in the academia was cut short by the Revolution. So, painting during the modern period. Amidst the ruins of war in Rizal Avenue, Escolta, and parts of the Azcaraga, the artists were set the sketch portraits for a living. So in 1951, a gallery for the modern painting was established on the side street of Calle Mabini in Ermita. So this gallery was called the Philippine Art Gallery. In times, the artists on Mabini Street became known as the Mabini Painters. Mabini painter garnered major prizes in the AAP competitive exhibitions. So in 1953, the roster of modern artists include Fernando Zobel de Ayala, Victor Oteiza, Manuel Rodriguez, Hugo Yonzon, Vicente Manuasala, Arturo Luz, Hernando Ocampo, Cesar Legaspe, Ramon Estela, and Romeo Tabuena. So now let's proceed to our part 2 of our topic, which is the development of sculpture in the Philippines. Under this sculpture, we have two periods, during the Spanish period and during the American period. So let me discuss to you first the sculpture during the Spanish period, wherein the Spaniards arrived in the Philippines in the early 16th century. Some forms of native sculpture, mostly of idols, existed because of their pagan origin. The native idols were destroyed by the Spaniards. So Christianity spread, and so sculptors turned to religion for their subject matter. How they carved images of saints, crosses, crucifixes, and other religious objects. The blossoming of Filipino sculpture started in the 19th century. Sculpture developed very slowly in the Philippines. The sculptors learned from their predecessors and from the experience of fellow sculptor. So, Virgin and Araneta collection, which displays an unconventional figure of the Virgin. So, in this particular sculpture, her arms are bent, so the neck thick, the face chubby and masculine, and the eyes are large and set widely. So next, the sculpture during the American period. After the revolution in 1896, Filipino sculptors began to erect monuments. So the monument of Jose Rizal were constructed in plazas all over the archipelago. So at the turn of the second decade, an international competition for the design of a Rizal monument was held. An Italian sculptor, Carlos Nolle, won the first prize. The Rizal figure with a book and top coat became the prototype of Rizal monuments all over the Philippines. In Naga City, the stereotype Rizal figure stands atop a quadrangular shaft, a book in the crotch of the left arm, and the right arm half raised Also, the impressive monument of the 15th Martyrs located at the Queen's Martyrs Plaza. So, Guerrero Tolentino sculpted the Rizal figures in Binyan City, Laguna. He has developed a mastery of the human figures, which is very essential in molding figures for monument. The works of Francisco Armonte heralded the Modernism movement in sculpture. The Metropolitan Theatre was the largest of the buildings erected during the Modernism period. So, the Philippines is home of a long and rich history of excellence in visual arts. So, arts remind us of our love of the nature and wildlife, where with enhances our respect and our relationship with natural world. So thank you for watching and God bless.